Truly, truly, I say to you, unless a grain of wheat falls into the earth and dies, it remains alone. But if it dies, it bears much fruit. John 12:24. Okay, let's pray. Our Heavenly Father, all glory belongs to you. If there are any words that you want to be heard, use this mouth, sanctify it, and speak your words in Jesus' name. So, I have been quite busy over the summer. I took on a couple new AP curriculum. One I taught before, but it's been a while, so that was going to be a challenge. And on top of that, most of you know, I was asked to teach AP Bio. I was very scared, but I took courage, and I prayed and talked over it with my husband Lawrence, and we decided that that's something that I can do with God's help. And basically, I spent the whole summer doing nothing but prepping, and it's been a lot of work. And throughout it all, I felt like Gideon. God was saying, Sally, he kept affirming me. But there were moments I tried to run away, by the way. There was a time when, during the conference, I called Kim and said, Kim, you have to teach this course. I can't. I had a freak out moment for a while, too. But all in all, God kept affirming me and saying, I will help you through this. I'll walk you through this. And he has been. Praise the Lord, he has been. Not to say that there hasn't been moments of failure. So as I was thinking through all our characteristics of our students that we want to develop, there are two words that I want to focus in on in the talk right now: courageous and Christian. Because God has been really, really taking me through this journey of learning to be courageous over and over again, day after day, when I feel like I'm failing, when I feel like I'm not doing a good enough job. Just the other day, this weekend, I had to prepare this new topic for AP Chem that I had never taught before, and it has to do with quantum mechanics. It has to do with more molecular orbital theory. I mean, this is like, upper division level chemistry stuff, and you learn it once and you don't use it, you forget about it. And so I had to relearn a lot of it and try to teach it. We never taught it before in the other AP curriculum. I don't know why, but it was under the learning objective. So I'm like, okay, I gotta do this. Okay, I'm gonna take courage, and I need to give them an enriching experience. So I read up on it the whole weekend. I went to the stores at night buying styrofoam balls, and so they could do activities on these crystal packing, and then so the week comes along, and so I'm like, okay, I'm gonna be this courageous teacher. If I'm gonna, ask them to be courageous, I have to be courageous. So I took on this topic and I tried to teach it, and it didn't pan out that well. I got questions. I have some really brilliant students, so I got questions I couldn't answer over and over again, and I kept having to say, look it up. And then after a while, kids started making fun of that and saying, okay, look it up. So they were anticipating that with certain questions, that was my answer. And that really broke me. This is my problem. I always cry. So I was surprised by the level of demoralization that I experienced by one little comment that this one student made. And I was really struggling with it and taking it to God, saying, Lord, I thought I was your Gideon. I thought you were gonna, hand me the enemy on a silver platter. What's going on here? This doesn't really look like success to me. And God was just walking me through. And then I think in that light of my own, feelings of failure, I was like I was thinking through the mission statements and characteristics, and I was kind of feeling negative, and I was looking around and I was like, I'm not seeing courage. I try to I try to reward certain behaviors that are characteristic of thoughtfulness and courageous Christian character, right? I have this system, reward system going on, and a lot of times, like if like I have a notebook where I jot down whenever that happens, so students know it, right? So whenever I take out the notebook, then they're all scrounging and cleaning up, and I'm like, that's so superficial, gosh. So I was thinking, how successful are we? Not only am I, in my curriculum teaching, but in promoting these beautiful characters. And I wonder if are we just falling so short of what we need to do? And the image that came to me was Jesus, the master teacher of all. He had miracles as his hands-on activity, passing out baskets of food. He had the greatest lessons to teach. And yet, how successful was he as a teacher? By the time he went to the cross, all the disciples ran away. Nobody understood that he was supposed to die and rise in 3 days. Everybody forgot the lesson, and it was as a teacher, he was an utter failure. And yet, that's when everybody thought that. That's when everybody thought, the time when everybody thought he was the worst failure, he was achieving the greatest lesson in the history of mankind. So, what God was trying to tell me was that don't judge short-term results. Don't judge by short-term results. I'm doing something in you and in this school and through the students that you cannot imagine. So hang in there, be obedient, look to me, and everything will be all right. And I think in this lesson, God was trying to tell me, when I take courage, take risks, and fail, when my students take courage, risks, and fail, that's not a failure as we see it. In fact, it might be that God is trying to teach us a lesson through that. And that I need to die to my own ideas of success, my own ideas, my own agenda of what I want to see and how quickly I want to see it. Because it's not going to, obviously, these beautiful character, it's not going to happen, within few months period of time. It's going to be a lifelong journey for them as well as us. So in that, I just love that Jesus is teaching me that his death is what's making me. And for me, in my classroom and in my life, that's the most important thing to me. So doesn't necessarily translate perfectly all the time, but I'm gonna hang in there. I don't know what God is doing when I'm failing and falling flat on my face, but I have hope, so I can continue. So that's how I can overcome my failure, and that's what I try to teach my students. There's this great C.S. Lewis quote that I heard this morning. It says, if we let him, he will make the feeblest and filthiest of us into a god or goddess, a dazzling, radiant, immortal creature, pulsating all through with such energy and joy and wisdom and love as we cannot now imagine. A bright, stainless mirror which reflects back to God perfectly, though of course on a smaller scale, his own boundless power and delight and goodness. The process will be long and in parts very painful, but that is what we're in for, nothing less. He meant what he said. So with that, I trudge along. So that's what I want to share. Okay, so I'll end with the prayer.